century and a half ago, my ancestors fled the Irish famine to come to New York. Hello, I'm Peter Quinn. In the years that followed, their lives became entwined with the cities. The story of their journey from dispossessed tenant farmers to citizens of the great metropolis led me to a lifelong fascination with the Irish-American experience. The more I've looked and learned, the more I've realized how critical their experience and the experience of millions of other Irish immigrants has been to the making not just of New York, but of America. Nowhere is that experience more highly valued than at Glucksman Ireland House. Here at New York University, Glucksman Ireland House has become an important institution for the study of Irish history, literature, and culture, both nationally and abroad. Founded just 10 years ago, Ireland House has helped fill a void in Irish studies and Irish culture. Before Ireland House, there wasn't a place in New York where scholars and artists could gather on a regular basis within the fertile environment of a great university. It was an exhilarating thing when it began. You could literally feel the excitement. Today, that excitement is stronger than ever. It's constantly channeled into events and activities that enrich the lives of the students, scholars, and even the world leaders who've all converged at Ireland House. Now, after a decade of great work, Ireland House is taking stock of where it's been and getting ready for all the possibilities and opportunities that lie ahead. Loretta, first of all, congratulations on the 10th anniversary of Ireland House. We're here because of you and your generosity. What are you proudest of these past 10 years? What do you think the greatest accomplishment of Ireland House has been?
My favorite thing is the position that Ireland House has carved out within the Irish-American community. All the aspects of the Irish-American community seem to find a home here. It's a neutral zone, it's a welcoming place, and that gives me the best joy. I love that part of it.
Just wondering, when you began 10 years ago, what vision did you begin with, or what hope?
Main thing was to have a presence for Irish history, Irish stories, Irish literature and arts in New York that would be both meet the quality of a fine university on the one hand and be really accessible to the Irish New Yorker, or to the New Yorker in general. There's no question. The interest in Irish studies, Irish arts is pretty universal now, especially after the 1990s. We opened the door, it flooded in. The public interest, the quality of the people who come. We have a momentum in both the academic side and the public access side, I think.
It's a brilliant, beautiful, bittersweet elegy on the end of a particular type of Irish America.
What have you learned so far at Ireland House?
I've learned a lot of things, Peter. I've learned just how wide is the interest in Irish culture. We began with 65 students in our first year 10 years ago taking something in Irish studies. We have 670 this year. That is a remarkable rate of increase. I'd say half the students in my classes will have no Irish background at all. It can go from an interest in Bono, shall we say, at one end, to a realisation that Ireland, although a very small country, was at the centre of the history of imperialism, colonialism, for longer than any other European country. And of course, these are all issues which are very germane to today's world.
Down in Bottle Alley lived Timothy McNally, a decent politician and a gentleman at that.
Music has become a major dimension of our activities, and music is an international language. It really is. And with Mick Moloney here, we are widening and opening the frontiers all the time.
Mick Moloney is a renowned ethnomusicologist, musician, and folklorist. He's a global distinguished visiting professor at NYU and the organizer of West Along the Road, a 10-day celebration of Irish music, dance, and discussion. This festival that's been put together, it's another milestone for Ireland House. I'm just wondering, where did it come from? Where did the idea come from?
The idea came from really an extension of what Ireland House has been all about for 10 years, which is public presentation and academic study. The very fact that this is New York meant that here we have the resources to be able to put on a week-long series of events which They include recitals and concerts, which are the performing arts, with an academic symposium where we reflect on issues that are central to Irish music and Irish identity and Irish culture, but in a global context. We have people visiting academics from all over the world to amplify the discussion. I'm delighted to be in this environment because there's an affirmation not only of music as a worthy source of academic study, but also an affirmation of music as performance. There's the beauty of the form itself. Through its beauty, it attracts people. And if you play Irish music, or indeed any kind of folk music, you have a place in a worldwide family. And at a time in society where we're becoming increasingly more atomized, it's nice to have that kind of that bedrock, you know, somewhere to go home to.
I wonder, how important do you think New York is, not just Irish history or Irish American history, but to the Irish diaspora? It's almost an accident of history that so many Irish wound up here, but in a way the city has risen to imperial prominence in the world. Do you think that has a special, gives a special cachet to Ireland House?
I think it does, because nowadays New York is such a great city. If you're successful here, then you're at the top, in a sense, not merely of New York, you're the top of America, you're probably the top of the world in terms of what you've come through and what you've achieved.
I don't think there's any person more synonymous with the Irish-American experience in New York who's done a more magnificent job of chronicling it than Pete Hamill. You're a valuable part of this place since the very beginning. And I think Ireland House, more than any other place, it really is the first place we've been able to have this conversation about the Irish-American experience.
That's absolutely true. I mean, one of the things that it did was create a conversation. The conversation of the Irish with each other, the Irish with the other people they share the city and the country with, in ways that just were not being done at the time. And that's what's the great accomplishment of it.
The Irish experience is so integral to New York history, to the New York experience, and it's so little record of it. Not only, I mean, in literature, but a physical record. For 150 years, we really didn't have a repository for all the documents, letters, literature. And now we have the Archive of Irish America, which is a tremendous step forward, I think.
One of the goals of Ireland House is to retrieve a lot of that, to get it out of those attics where the letters are stuffed in the middle of the book somewhere, and make it available to all of us. I think in terms of the archive, we want those Irish families who have documents and records and letters and journals to realize there's a place to put them right here in which they'll be guarded for eternity. I think there's going to be a role for us in that part of educating both ourselves and the wider world.
You've talked eloquently about its role here in the United States. I'm just wondering about, do you see Ireland House having a role in Ireland? Is there
certainly, certainly. I see Ireland House as a conduit between Irish culture or Irish cultures and Irish cultures in America. I think we have something to contribute to the wider America and to the wider Ireland.
What do you think is the greatest challenge or the greatest expectation you have?
Is to sustain the tremendous achievements of the last 10 years. I would like to see us go on to broaden in the wider social science and humanities areas. I think the language dimension is an important one. We also have something to teach about how languages can decline, how they can be oppressed and destroyed, how they can survive, and what a multiple of languages have to contribute to a wider global culture in language terms. I would also like to see playing a more central role in the appreciation of immigration issues and ethnic issues in Ireland itself, because Ireland has been an immigrant country, mainly to here for so long. It's now Ireland has become an immigrant country. We are taking in more than are leaving at this stage. Apart from that, we have now got, I think, an established scholarly base in publication terms, in conference terms, in seminar terms, and I want us to be able to continue to do them and to improve further in doing them to the very highest level by any standards anywhere. I also want to use Ireland House as a base for bringing over not only Irish academics, musicians, Irish filmmakers, but Irish policymakers.
Let me just ask you, what's your greatest hope for the next 10 years for Ireland House? Do you have a vision for the next 10 years?
It's a very tiny space into which we pack so much. It does have a sort of soothing, almost magical presence sometimes. We've both been in this house when it takes on some other kind of atmosphere. This will always be the core of Ireland House. But I would love to expand it a little bit, just so that the people that do work so very hard here have a little bit more space in which to do it. And then the other thing I'd love to have happen is to really have a full academic program for Irish studies.
You know, any of us who live in New York have seen the impact of Ireland House on New York, but you're a frequent traveler to Ireland. And do you see a lot of interchange and dialogue between the two cultures through this
I do, and it's a nice springboard. There's a lot of interest among Irish people, particularly Irish students, to study or visit at Ireland House. There's a huge interest among the artistic community. I get a lot of approaches in Ireland about Ireland House, and it truly is a real bridge. I mean, a lot of Irish people and Irish American people have used it as a bridge, and that's a lovely thing.
With the help of NYU's Glucksman Ireland House, bridges are being built. Just as its founders hoped, Ireland House is creating a new kind of academic and cultural organization, one that serves as a gathering place for all those interested in exploring the Irish experience. The success of Ireland House testifies to the immense interest that exists, but this is a critical time in the institution's development. The challenge now is to build on its accomplishments, to uphold its academic and cultural mission, and bring it to the next level. Only with the support of people who share that commitment and vision can the Glucksman Ireland House continue to promote a greater understanding of both the Irish and the Irish-American experience.